Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from wherever you are, and welcome to a unscheduled live stream. But I find that with everything that's going on within the wrestling industry, a lot of our live streams do tend to be very unscheduled when geared towards that medium. So, joining me is that doesn't work for me, brother, and we are going to be talking about the AEW All Out Media Scrum, in particularly CM Punk and him not really calling out Colt Cabana, but calling out all the people that felt their need to kind of get involved on behalf of Colt Cabana for no other reason other than to prove some kind of ridiculous loyalty, to stir up some drama, or just because they don't like, maybe they don't like CM Punk and they just want to start shit. So that's what we're going to talk about. Hosea, what would you like to take us on what was said in the media scrum?
Well, basically, Punk comes out and, he's dropping the F bombs. And Tony, here's the thing Tony's just sitting there the entire time. Like, he just sits there. He doesn't say shit. He doesn't wrangle in his wrestlers. And he's like, you know, this isn't anybody's business. I'm a grown ass man. Why, I'm not friends with Scott Colton anymore. And, these fucking EVPs who couldn't run a target. And I'm like, damn, dude. I mean, you work for these people. Like, you can't put your company on blast like this. You can't put your coworkers on blast like this. It doesn't work like that. If you did that to anyone else, like if you came up to your job and you told everybody like, "Hey, fuck you, I'm the shit, I'm the man, blah blah blah," you'd be fired. There'd be no two ways about it. But I don't know about you, but I'm getting serious late 1997 King shit vibes out of that medium scrum call. And you
Yeah,
know who I'm talking about.
yeah,
hmm
yeah,
He
yeah.
was not the nicest guy to work with in late
No.
1997, and I'm seeing some serious vibes from CM Punk like that right damn now.
Well, here's the thing as well. The like from what we've learned over the coming weeks is that CM Punk was just going about his business, and some people just took offense and took Colt Cabana's side and decided to start a bunch of drama. And because of that, it kind of created this weird atmosphere backstage. And the fallout after that has been obviously it spilled over into promos. And then Punk also, as you could tell from the press conference, is getting a little bit fed up of working with people who, um, think they're above the business. But they're basically CM Punk when CM Punk was young. I'm pretty sure wasn't CM Punk like a bit of a handful, but then he alluded to his ego in the press conference, you know. But I think he just took offense to people just siding with somebody without knowing all the facts and trying to create a negative atmosphere. And I think what triggered him was just Adam Page just going on stage and that cutting that promo. And then after that, CM Punk's like, you know what? Okay, the gloves are off. Forget it. I don't need this place. I don't need the money. I'm just gonna rip shit, and I don't care what the fallout is because clearly the locker room is very much divided. A lot of people have problems with the EVPs. A lot of people have problems with Punk, and there's lines being drawn here. Some are just staying out of it completely, and some are just like, "Fuck this!
Uh,
I can go to WWE now."
I'm Tony. You need to put your foot down, dude, now because egos and politics are going to destroy AEW if you don't put your foot down today. Like, you need to have a talent meeting ASAP and say, you know what, the bullshit stops here because I've seen what this type of shit can do. This is like equivalent to when, like, your childhood friends like can't get along, so you got to choose sides, and then eventually it destroys the whole friendship group. I've had that happen. I know you've probably had that happen when
Oh
you were
yeah,
younger, and yeah,
oh
that's
yeah.
what this kind of reminds me of. Is like this is like, oh, two second graders can't get along, so Tony, instead of putting his foot down, is just going to let shit escalate. That can't
Well,
happen.
I'll put an example. So Tony, because Tony, obviously, when you hear about drama with him and you saw his own conference, he was very unhinged
Mm-hmm.
and he's just flat out swore at everyone and all this kind of stuff. You can find clips of it. But if the boss is not stern and doesn't lead by example, then the monkeys are just going to throw feces everywhere and try to be king shit.
Mm-hmm.
I will give you a prime example of an old place I used to work. When I got promoted, we had at the time we had 3 units, different units for a center, you know, looking after students with autism and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They moved me to a center that was in absolute turmoil. Like people weren't getting along. There were sicknesses all the time. There was like, you know, people just basically taking the piss, as we say. And I went in there and I said, okay, I'm not going to go in there stamping my feet and yelling at people and all this kind of stuff. That doesn't work like that. You do that, people just going to look at you and be like,
Yeah,
whatever,
he's out
mate.
of there. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I'll lead by example. I'll do the job that they're meant to do. I'll get stuck right in, do everything that needs to be done, show them, guide them nicely, gently, be good, be kind, let their ideas kind of flow out, let them, you know, let their ideas come to fruition rather than getting fobbed off by management and all this kind of shit. And eventually we went from chaos to the best unit in the center, because when you want to lead by example, you don't go in there stomping your feet. You go in and you say, listen, we are in turmoil at the moment. I know there are a lot of big egos, but I'm the boss and whatever I say goes. But bear in mind that I want what's best for everyone and I want what's best for my product and I want to make a lot of fucking money out of my product. And I enjoy my wrestling. That's why I bought fucking Ring of Honor and all this kind of stuff. So I say it now, I say it loud. If you're not happy, let's go and discuss this. See if we can work it out. If we can't work it out, then I'll show you the door
Mm-hmm.
and you can go. Because there is plenty of talent and there is a lot of good talent in that locker room now that can easily take over. Kenny Omega and the Bucks ain't shit. Punk ain't shit. Tomorrow, I know he's a big draw, but you get rid of them and you just let the people that are working their nuts off kind of take their spotlight. Before you know it, you're right back to square one. You got no drama. You got a good talent that wants to work, wants to follow a kind of program and all this kind of shit. The wrestling business is a wrestling business. No one person is the business. Okay. We saw that with Vince. As soon as Vince
Mm-hmm.
left, he got kicked out. Look how incredible Clash at the Castle was.
It's a
The
show of the
big
year.
difference.
Yeah, it's a
Show
show
of
of
the
the year.
year.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. All right. And that is, people were like, oh, that's it. WWE's over. It's going to crumble when Vince goes. It's not going to be the same. No, it got better. It got better within a couple of weeks of him being kicked out of the company, meaning no one man is the industry. The industry is a collective. Okay. You can't work just for yourself. You need to work for the collective. Because
It's
when
like
you work for the collective,
Mhm.
everyone prospers.
It's like Steve Austin said, what you are, and this is actually a good analogy. You're a gear in the machine. That's what you
Yeah.
are. You're a gear in the machine. You know, you perform, you do everything you can to keep the machine running. Eventually, you have to replace that gear because it wears out over time. You know, it's it just does. You know, the part wears out, and you have to keep the spoke on the wheel moving.
It's it.
And with Tony Khan, I don't know about you, but having your fellow wrestlers be the EVPs is one of the worst decisions that you can make, because it's one of those where it's like you give them creative control, and oh boy, it doesn't really
Yeah.
work out well. So I don't know
Yeah.
if I would have had the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega as my EVPs. I would have probably had some non wrestling guys that could do the business side of AEW as my EVPs if it were up to
Well,
me.
let's put it this way. Look, when they were first starting, it wasn't Tony Khan that was looking to make his business.
Mm-hmm.
It was Cody and it was the Bucks, and they were looking to find the financier to start a wrestling company that they felt could go toe to toe with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So when Tony Khan comes in with his money, either at their request was to say, look, we'll handle the business side of things, the booking side. We'll do all this kind of stuff. Uh, we just need you to finance it. Obviously, you're the boss. You know, whatever you say goes. And Tony Khan, probably in the moment with his enthusiasm, was like, "Look, I'll give you guys executive vice president. Look, we want the wrestlers to feel like they run the business, not just be like Vince is the all and be all." But the problem is, he gave the role to people with egos completely out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And you know this because they're the three most cringiest motherfuckers. And you add Kenny Omega into that role as well because he came in later. Okay, I mean, AEW hadn't launched, but he wasn't one of the people pushing to create this business. But
Mm-hmm.
he came in later and got the head of female thing, which was a stupid assignment in and of itself. They should have given that to Mickey James.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, but obviously in that initial thing, we all thought, yeah, this is great. No, let's see what happens and all that. But as time went on and the dust settled, was like, okay, the program has moved beyond these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got rid of Rhodes, which we saw, the Bucks and Omega, the business will carry on just fine.
It's going to have to. You have no alternative.
Yeah, they weren't the stars. They never became the top draws. I mean, you could argue maybe Kenny Omega, he's like loved by the fans and all this. But the other three, one had go away heat, and then he went away. And the other two, nobody likes the Bucks. Nobody gives a shit about the Bucks.
You've seen one. You've seen one Young Bucks match. You've seen them all. I swear to God, that's how they are. It's like I could call out what they're going to do before they even do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
yeah, they're by the numbers. So
I'm gonna ask this question too. Okay,
go for it.
Do you think now with the CM Punk thing, do you think that they're in a no-win situation with this MJF thing? I kind of feel that way because if you have CM Punk retain the title, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, okay, he retained it, but it's not what they want to see. And then with MJF, if he wins it, other than turning Punk heel, I don't really see a way out of this.
It's
tough.
It's a tough situation because I'm really fucking hoping that the stuff that Punk said about MJF, but because it was also parroted by Chris Jericho, I'm kind of thinking it's probably true that he's got a bit of an attitude, but I'm really hoping it's just playing into the hill that is MJF. If it is, and MJF has to win the title, then it's great. It's good storytelling. It's good booking. But then we need MJF to stick around, to be consistent, to kind of let that storyline aspect of fucking pay me or fire me thing go away. Because in the current environment, the way things are in the industry, it's better to get that aspect of drama away and just have him be a bona fide heel, insulting and attacking wrestlers rather than the company as a whole now. If it's all a work, if it's not all a work, then what do? Do you reward that shitty behavior with a title?
It's a tough call. It's a tough call because I feel like they booked themselves into a corner here. Because now it's like, how are you going to get out of this? Because I put on Twitter, I'm going to read my statement. I said, if they don't get their shit together now, egos and politics are going to run this company straight into the ground. We don't need that doesn't work for me, that doesn't work for me, brother vibes in AEW. Tony needs to tighten his ship up now. And people have said, I don't see how Punk is in the wrong. Hangman shouldn't bring up the past when it isn't his business. Clearly, it's a very sore subject for Punk. And someone else said, you fix the problem by getting rid of Punk. And I honestly, I hate to say it, the honeymoon phase for CM Punk has been over. It's been over now for some time. And I think he's past his prime. You could see it in him that he's not the same guy he once was. He's clearly in it for the check. The passion is gone. It's not there like it used to be. And I think for CM Punk, if there's a time to go, I'd like to see MJF beat him, and that's it. Because other than that, what else can you do?
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. They're not going to get rid of Punk, though. Punk is a draw. Whether they like to say it or not, Punk is a draw. And I allude to what I said before. don't count the ratings on just the Nielsen ratings, because
Mm-hmm.
AEW, unlike WWE, or maybe just as much as WWE, has a huge online following and a huge online contention. There's also, viewing their stuff through Fight TV. There's also so it's always difficult to grasp how much people are engaging with AEW, but it's pretty huge. It is on par with WWE in terms of engagement. Um, the drama if kept in check, doesn't do them bad in the long run, because it draws eye to the product.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue, yeah, but it's a negative eye. Yes, it is a negative eye,
but it gets people talking at the end of the
but it
day,
gets
and that's
people
what you
talking.
want. Yeah.
It gets the clicks, it gets the engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And sadly, negativity sells these days. For all the love and amazement that was NXT, it wasn't getting the massive viewership numbers that it should have been getting. But then again, it was on the network at the time, the WWE network at the time. But it was an amazing product and amazing matches and all this kind of stuff. But it didn't draw the viewership. AEW and all its chaos, it's drawn views. It's still going. It's very strong. There's no sign of Discovery wanted to cut it, which is huge news given how happy they've been since the acquisition of AT&T Warner Brothers and all this.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is, what do you do with, if I'm gonna choose between MJF and CM Punk, I'm going MJF.
Absolutely.
I'm going MJF. He's young. He's a classical heel. He is the old school business that people love. He's got amazing heat. People love to hate him or just love him.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm given a choice between to resolve this and say, look, all right, let's get the locker room in order, then I'll do that. Get MJF to win in November, and then bye Punk.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting Punk the fuck out of there. I know they won't do that, but it's time to go. It's time to go. It's like, dude, you had a year. This is your farewell tour. Thank you for coming home. Goodbye. You've done what you need to do. You've served your purpose. You put over the young lion MJF. You can get mileage out of him. I think probably by default, by proxy, I could see MJF probably being a babyface, because the crowd will probably turn him babyface, even though he's just so fucking good as a heel. He's one of those dudes that's almost too good. Like, he's just that fucking good at his job. I could see MJF just taking the piss out of Punk, like, royally, and the crowd will go, oh, yay. And then by default, MJF is just a de facto babyface. In this feud, that's how he's going to be booked.
This is it. It's like what happened with Austin. He came out as the heel, but ended up as the face. Mm-hmm. And MJF is just, when it comes between him and CM Punk, and given all the drama that's been going on, I'm pretty sure people are going to be siding with MJF.
Yep.
Because he's young, he's new, he's exciting. We've been there, we've done that with Punk. It's not the same anymore. Mm-mm. It's a bit like Jericho. We've been there, we've done that. But anyone that takes his place is always going to be welcome with open arms. So, yeah, I definitely, if it comes to choosing between the two, I'll choose them. Now, the other issue is who reins in Tony Khan, because he's completely out of control.
That's the biggest problem, because here's the thing. I think you'll agree. You can't have a Mark run a wrestling promotion. You can't. It's not going to work. You need a business guy. Like, people give Vince shit, and I'll admit, we've done it. We give him shit, but I am going to praise Vince. Vince's best ideas have been away from the business. Like the WWE Network, the best idea I think he's ever had. Ever. That was ahead of its time. The WWE Network, I fucking miss it. I miss it to this day.
It is the best. Now, I've used pretty much every single streaming site there is. Sign up for free to give it a try and all this kind of stuff. The WWE Network is the best streaming site I've ever used in my life in terms of user friendliness and in terms of breaking down. Not only does it, you can skip to each match, but it's got the beginning, the middle. You can skip to the end of that match. Yep. You got all this and all these little innovations, and their programming in general was pretty solid on the network. Mm-hmm. But sadly, it just couldn't get more than 1.5. It peaked at 1.5 million users. And for somebody who's got 90 million subscribers on the YouTube channel, only having 1.5 million on the WWE Network, sadly, but anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about it just
how we businesses. like, okay, yeah, Vince, here's the thing. Vince, as much shit as we give him, he's a genius at what he does in the business side of things. And as far as Tony goes, Tony's a mark. And if you're going to let your boys say what they want to say, if you're not going to rein them in and say, okay, dude, you guys got to stop this shit. You may not have to get along, but you're going to have to learn to work together for the sake of the business. With Tony, it might be his dad that reins him in and says, yo, dude, all this money that you're spending, all this shit that you're doing, you need to figure it the fuck out, because if you're not going to turn a profit at the end of the day, that business will fail. That's ultimately the object of business, is you have to turn a profit. Otherwise, it's not going to make it.
Which AEW is actually making profits. It's not making losses. Otherwise, the network wouldn't have kept it on.
Yeah,
so
they would have
they're
been
making
gone by
money.
now.
Like the merch is sells well and all this kind of stuff. But it's more about, you've got to look at it. The more unstable he is, the less likely the business will be able to sustain itself. Because if we just allow chaos to reign supreme, then eventually everyone's just going to get pissed off. We've already seen, as soon as Triple H came to power, that a lot of AEW stars are now like, yeah, I'm going back over there. Malachi Black is now gone. He's going to go back to WWE. It looks like, oh God, what was it? The Ascension, the name of Adam Cole's lot?
Undisputed Era.
Undisputed Era, not the Ascension. That was a fucking tag team or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Undisputed Era. I think like Bobby Fish is already looking to go back. I know somebody else that was going to go back, but has got massive injury now. That was in the Undisputed Era.
Okay, and Aleister Black's another one I know that he said he wants to go back.
That's what I say. Yeah, Malachi Black, Aleister Black. Yeah, he's going back. He because he took the pin yesterday, and off screen he waved goodbye to the crowd and hugged his teammates.
Yep.
So yeah, it looks like, and because he was a Triple H guy, so Triple H clearly contacted him and said, "Look, come back. I'm going to push you to the hills."
Yep.
And that's fine.
They're always looking for that equal value to the Undertaker.
Yeah,
they know there's a void there to the Undertaker.
Yeah, I agree, and it's good to kind of go back where there's unfinished business. I feel, for a lot of wrestlers. I wouldn't be surprised if Keith Lee goes back as well. Even Adam Cole.
Yeah, Swerve will go back, because Swerve, Hit Row, they're trying and they're okay at what they do, but it's not the same without Swerve.
Yeah. So yeah, all those kind of people that are released, a lot of them going to end up going back. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Athena go back. I forget what she was called in Ember Moon.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she goes back eventually.
As far as going to AEW, I don't know who you get from WWE to AEW at the moment. Not entirely sure about that.
No idea. I know I think Triple H is just gonna, because Vince kind of halted a lot of plans to kind of push forward, but now Triple H is like, okay, I'm going to carry on that expansion into Europe, which sucks, but okay. And I just think that, I don't know. I think their attitude is going to change as well. They're going to, instead of just going after athletes that are coming out of school, I think they are going to dip into like the indie wrestlers as well.
They're going to expand and take over the entire world. I think that's his goal. I think he wants everything.
I think that's definitely what Triple H wants. 100%.
Japan is already telling him, yeah, no, you can take over the rest of the world, but you ain't coming up in here. You ain't fucking up our 75-year history that we got. That ain't happening. We won't allow that.
Japan is not gonna have it. That got halted anyway. They didn't push through with that because of COVID, and then because it was just going to be too expensive. But they'll definitely go South Africa, Australia, India, and all this kind of stuff. But
yeah, as far as WWE going to AEW, I'm not entirely sure who you would get. I don't know.
I don't think they need anyone at the moment. I think the roster is perfectly fine. Triple H is going to push his people now. We're already seeing little seeds planted for who's going to kind of be like main event guys. Obviously, Karrion Kross, we know is going to be a main event guy. We kind of saw it alluded to with him and Drew McIntyre in the match against Roman Reigns. But yeah, so WWE's having its renaissance now.
Hmm.
And so AEW definitely needs to get their shit together, let the drama boil out, but settle it like men.
If you can't get along, okay, fine, but you need to learn to work together. That needs to be
Yeah.
the thing I'm preaching in the locker room now. And with Tony, I'm scaling back on being a mark, man. I'm like, you got to do that. You got to scale back on being a fan. I get that you love it. I get that you're passionate about it, but you need to concentrate with this and not with this.
Yeah, I mean,
If
he's
you know what
losing
I
his
mean.
fucking mind trying to keep it
Hmm.
all in check. He's becoming unhinged. Again, we've seen reports of his behavior becoming erratic and just contributing to the negative vibes in the locker room. And do you know who I would put as somebody to rein all this shit in? Daniel Bryan or Brian
Actually,
Danielson.
I was going to say him and William Regal would be
Yeah,
the two guys I
yeah,
would use. I would
them
use
two
them.
to
Yep.
reel it all in. They're the
Hmm.
perfect guys to do it
Yep.
because they,
They've
their
been through
egos are
this.
in check. They know
Yeah.
what they're worth. They're not crazy. You can't do it to CM Punk. Nobody takes him fucking serious
Mm.
because he's a bit of a diva. Okay, Kenny Omega. I heard he gave him a speech attacking the locker room, and people just fucking laughed in his face and fobbed him off. So I'm also gonna look moving forward. I'll be like, you know what? I don't need the Bucks. I could demote them, and they can stay here or fuck off. I don't need
I
them.
I wouldn't have wrestlers as my EVPs. I wouldn't. I would not allow it. I'd be like, you know what, you guys, okay, you can remain as on-air talents, but that's all I'm giving you. I'm not giving you anything else because
Yeah.
if
Well,
if
yeah,
you let
yeah,
them, like I said, if you let these guys come through and wreck shop, it's going to destroy your company faster than you think it will. Because if, like, let's say, okay, if chaos lasts like a couple years, AEW's out by 2025 if they don't get their shit together.
if they don't get their shit together, then yeah,
Hmm.
AEW is going to be in a lot of trouble,
Yeah,
and none of us want that. You know,
no, we don't want
the
another
more companies
monopoly.
there are, the better it is for everyone.
Hmm.
Um, that's yeah, that's all I can say about that. But
Yeah,
let's see, it's going to be interesting. I think I might start doing weekly videos with you if you're around to
yeah,
talk about
I'm in.
uh, the drama in wrestling because it's
Hmm.
getting very, very sticky. And
Yeah,
who knows, the way things are, we might literally just smack on a live stream midweek because God knows what's going to happen. And yeah,
yeah,
off,
it might be a Thursday show. It might be one of those where it's like, okay, the week is over. SmackDown doesn't really count, but it's one of those
yeah,
where it's like
SmackDown
the
doesn't
week.
count. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, okay, we watch Raw, we watch Dynamite. If there's anything good about it or bad about it, if there's any drama, any big plans that there's to be talked about. I know that people are pissed off that Drew McIntyre didn't win the title, and I'm like, okay, they're going with Cody because other than that, who else do you have?
yeah, yeah. They're going to give Cody what he didn't get in AEW.
Hmm.
More just to kind of rub salt in the wounds as
Yeah,
well of
and then
AEW.
Tony.
That's what they're going to gear towards. But that's fine.
Hmm.
Whatever. It adds to the drama, so it's win-win
Yeah,
for us. But
it'll be a friendly shot. It'll be like, hey, I did this with your guy that you started this company with.
yeah, exactly,
Yep.
exactly. And they'll put something symbolic that he will smash as a
Hmm.
fuck you to AEW, as
Yep.
he did when he crashed the Triple H's throne.
And then the irony is Cody's going to go back because I'm like, he will go back. It's inevitable. It's like
He's gonna go back.
Yeah,
He's gonna go back.
Cody's not going to stay in WWE forever. There's no way possible. He's in the fucking video game, by the way.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
but he's not. He's gonna. They'll probably do that next year. They make him a champion and they put him on the cover of WWE 2K23.
Just to say, hey, yeah, we did this and you couldn't do it.
Yeah,
Ha.
be like, fuck you. Here it is. But the irony is because like with Cody in AEW, I just wanted him to fuck off. It was so annoying. But I felt that he never got his just desserts in WWE.
Yeah,
I
it's
always
weird,
felt
isn't
like
it?
he should have been a champion.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like, okay, yeah, Cody almost had everything you wanted in AEW, although he fucked up and booked himself in that. If I can't do this, I'll never compete for the world
Yeah,
title, which is so
yeah,
stupid. That's something you don't do. That's a kiss of death. That'd be something you would do for a wrestler that's already past the twilight of his career. If you
yeah,
want to do that when he's past the twilight of his career, okay, fine. But Cody, he still has mileage. But what they're going to do is they're going to give Cody one of the titles or both of them, and then take one away from him like they did with the Ultimate Warrior, and then say, yeah, I'm the man. I'm a double champion. Let's put this in the video game just to give him a big ha-ha to AEW, and that's how it can go. Yeah.
Yeah, you know that's where they're going to go with it. But, well, again, we all win.
Yeah, we win.
Yeah, we win. Right,
Tony,
okay. It's going to be interesting to see what happens from Wednesday and Friday after the shows. So we'll keep everyone posted, though you'll probably find it yourselves. I want to thank all the viewers that joined in. Would have been nice to get some comments on people's thoughts, but doesn't matter. It's all good. I want to thank my co-host. That doesn't work for me, brother. Better known as Derek the Slayer or Joe Ho, the Ho Killer. No, wait.
And last thing I'm gonna say, Tony, get your shit together.
And get your shit together, Tony. Stop doing cocaine.
Yeah, for real.
Bye, everyone.
See ya. Like and subscribe.